to my channel, or welcome if you are new. My name is Jessie and I post new budgeting and lifestyle content here on my channel every single weekday. Today's video is going to be the budget for my husband's second paycheck in April. If you are not familiar with our story, my husband and I are on a journey to pay off all of our credit card debt, hopefully by the end of this year. We are primarily a one-income family. My husband works full-time in the plumbing industry as a sewer and drain cleaner. He is paid based on commission, so his paychecks are not consistent in that they're not the same amount every single week. They fluctuate quite a bit. He gets paid on a weekly basis every single Tuesday, so I sit down and write up our budget every single week. So the paycheck date that we are going to be budgeting for is April 13th. And if we flip here to my April calendar, you can see that I have a couple of bills that I need to make sure that I pay this week. So we are looking at the pay period April 13th through the 19th. So we're taking care of all of the bills that fall within that time period. I use a color coding system to keep track of all of my spending throughout the month. Blue represents my bills, and so the bills that I need to make sure that I take care of with this income is my car payment, our gas bill, and our electric bill. Those are the things that fall within this time period, so that's what we tackle. That's how we handle our debt, or that's how we handle our budget rather. So those are the bills we're going to pay this week, so we can go ahead and start writing those in. I'm going to zoom you guys in a little bit. I use the budget by paycheck worksheets. I have the printable version of the workbook, so I print out the pages that I need and I punch them using an arc punch and bind them in my planner here using a Happy Planner disc bound system. And that's how I keep all of my stuff together. It's a really great system. It works out really well for me. In addition to budgeting pages from the Budget Mom, I also have pages from an Erin Condren monthly planner that I uncoiled and punched and put in here. I also have in my planner here lots of like life planning pages that I've downloaded from Etsy and that sort of thing. This book right here is like my all-in-one everything that I need Franken planner. So I just thought I would go over that really quickly for those that might be new. I've gotten some new subscribers lately. Thank you so much for subscribing and hanging out with me. So we don't talk about my income here on my channel. I got a kind of nasty comment last week from someone saying that it was pointless for me to share my budgets if I wasn't going to share my income. And I just want to let you guys know that the reason why I sit down and I film these budget videos every single week is for accountability for myself and also just to share my process. I found that in the past when I have shared income numbers, people get too caught up in that versus the information I'm giving in terms of the process. Like, people would look and say, I make way more money than that, or I make way less money than that, so this system won't work for me. And that's just not true. I think that no matter what your income, you can definitely budget. You can always find a little bit of wiggle room in your budget to, have money for savings or for debt payoff, regardless of how much you make. Just all depends on, your goals and what you're willing to give up and that sort of thing. So I find that actually not sharing my income is more helpful for people because they're less likely to get caught up in the income number and more likely just to kind of take in the process. So I hopefully that addresses that. My husband's just not comfortable sharing his income, and that's why I don't. But also, like I said, it helps to just focus more on the process and less about the actual numbers. So the first section here that we're going to fill out together is the bills section of my Paycheck bill tracker. And under this section, I put my bills, the ones we just talked about, on my calendar page. But in addition to that, excuse me, I also put anything else that I'm going to pay using my checking account or my debit card. So I do a lot of my budgeting in cash. You'll see me, talk a lot about the cash we're going to pull out of the bank for my cash envelopes and my sinking funds. But there are some things that you just can't do in cash. It's not convenient to do, that sort of thing. And that's what I put under this bills section. A better title for this for my specific way of doing things would be like checking account, but bills works. So the first thing we're actually going to write in here is my grocery budget, and that is because I use the Walmart grocery pickup, and so I pay for my groceries with either my debit card or with a credit card that we use and pay off every single week, and that obviously gets paid through my checking account, so that's why it's under this bills section. I have a family of 4, 2 very hungry teenage boys, so we budget $150, and that is for our groceries for the week. That's not household items or pet items. Those things I have a separate sinking fund for. This is just our food for the week. Now, in addition to grocery, I'll go ahead and write in those bills from my calendar section. So I have my Subaru payment, and for that, I am going to budget $390. I also have my gas bill, which is through Michigan Gas, and we are on the budget plan for that, so we pay the same amount every single month, regardless of how much or how little we run our heat. They just did the reassessment for this, and it did go up a little bit because we used more than what they were budgeting me for, so this bill has gone up to from $40 to I think like $48 each month. So I'm just going to budget $50. That way I know I'm covered. One of my kind of tips for dealing with inconsistent income is to always round the income amount that you think you're going to get down a little bit and then round your bills up. That way you have a little bit of wiggle room in your budget, right? So I budget $50 for that. And then I have DTE, which is our electric bill. We are also on a budget plan for that, and that has been right at $212 every single month. So until they reassess that and it goes up or down, that's what we pay. So that's what I will budget. So that is it for all of the bills and everything that's going to get paid through my checking account. So I have my calculator here, and we are going to go ahead and add everything up. So I have 150 for groceries, 390 plus 50 plus 212 is $802, and that's what I'll write here in this bill total section. So that takes care of my bills. Now we're going to move on to cash envelopes. So yeah, I pull a lot of cash out of the bank. We do all of our kind of like weekly spending in cash. We also save all of our sinking funds in cash. That's not for everyone, but it works out really well for us and our situation. You decide what works best for you. So for our cash categories, we have my husband spending money. I give him $40 at the start of every single week, and that's his money to do with whatever he wants. That gives him the freedom to be able to spend as he sees fit. He doesn't feel super deprived that way. We sat down at the start of our budgeting journey and discussed how much did he need to feel comfortable so that he doesn't feel deprived. He works really hard. Obviously, he is our primary source of income, so I never wanted him to feel like he was giving anything up or like he was working and not being able to enjoy any of the money that he earns. And so we decided on $40 for him. He doesn't have to keep track of receipts. He doesn't have to answer to me in terms of that. That's the reason why we do our spending money. Because when we first started budgeting, I was trying to keep track of my spending as well as his spending, and that required me to, basically grill him every night. Like, how much did you spend? Where's the receipt? Do you have any change? And that's a surefire way to start an argument. I can tell you that. So I just give him $40 at the start of every week, and I know that that's accounted for, and it works out really well for us. Likewise, I also get $40 in spending money. Even Steven. All right, so next up I have my son Robert, who is 18, and he has a full-time job and makes his own money. He pretty much takes care of himself. Obviously, he's still living at home, so we still provide like groceries and whatnot, but this line item here in my budget is for a little bit of cash that I give him every week because he drives my youngest son to school every day. So it helps compensate him for his time and for his gas and that sort of thing. So we give him $20 a week in gas money. For my youngest son, Austin, he gets $20 a week, and that's like his allowance. So that we pull out in cash. Something else that we pull out in cash every single week is cash for our lawn maintenance. We have a company that comes and cuts our grass every week, so that costs us $20. We also do our gas money in cash, and for that we budget $40. That's about what it costs to fill my Subaru from empty with gas prices being what they are. So that's what I budget every single week, whether I think I'm going to need gas or not. I always give us $40 a week. That way I'm covered no matter what the situation. Next we have eating out. My family and I are on a debt-free journey. It is our goal to pay off our debt, but it's our goal to pay off debt without feeling deprived or bitter about it. And so we still give ourselves spending money. We still give ourselves eating out money. That's what works for us. You can choose to go, as Dave Ramsey would say, gazelle intense, scorched earth, don't have any fun, don't eat out, don't do anything until your debt's paid off. That's just not the life we're living. So we budget $50 a week in eating out money. And lastly, I have my miscellaneous fund, and that I budget $25 for. That's just extra cash to have on hand in case I need it, in case something comes up, I forgot to budget for something. Inevitably, we use this $25 every single week, it seems like, for something. So if I didn't have that in my budget and something came up, I would have to swipe a debit card or a credit card for it, and I would just much rather plan ahead and have this money set aside. So that's everything for my cash envelopes. So let's go ahead and add this up quickly. So we have 40 plus 40 plus 20 plus 20 plus 20 plus 40 plus 50 plus 25, and that's $255. That's the amount we will take out of the bank for our cash envelopes for the week. This is all money that will be spent this week. If we, for example, don't need a full $40 in gas, it only costs us $12 in gas, the rest of that money will either be rolled over to next week or it will be sent as an extra debt payment. You guys can check back next week for my budget results video to find out exactly how we did, how much we actually spent, and how much extra gets paid towards debt. That's one of my favorite videos to film every week. You guys get to see, how closely I stuck to my plan. All right. Next up, we have sinking funds. If you're not familiar with sinking funds, they're essentially little mini savings accounts. We save small amounts of money throughout the year for things that we know are coming up, and that way we don't have to scramble for them when we get there. The example I always use is Christmas. Rather than waiting until November or December and trying to pay for Christmas all at once and really taking our budget way down for like weekly expenses and stuff. We just take a little bit of money throughout the year and put it away in an envelope, and that way we barely miss the money, it slowly builds up, and we have it at the end of the year when we need it. We have over a dozen sinking funds, but we're not adding money to every single sinking fund every single week. We just pick and choose which sinking funds we want to add to based on how much money we have. You know, if my husband's paycheck was a little bit lower, we may fund fewer sinking funds. If it was higher, we may fund more. We also think about what's coming up the quickest, what our priorities are, what our goals are, and that's kind of how we decide what sinking funds we're going to address that week. So the sinking funds that we are going to add money to are our campground sinking fund. We have a campground that we pay for annually. It's due in October, so we like to just set aside little bits of money here and there so that it's not a large expense all at once. Like I said, that's what sinking funds are for. So we're going to add $50 to our campground fund. We also have a Christmas fund, as I mentioned, that we are adding money to, and we're going to add $50 to that. We have a clothing sinking fund, and that's going to get $25. We have really been using our clothing sinking fund a lot lately, getting new things for summer and that sort of thing, so I want to add a little bit more to that. Next up, I have car maintenance, which actually probably should have been first because now I am not in alphabetical order, but that's fine. We're going to add $25 to our car maintenance fund. And lastly, I'm starting a new sinking fund, and this is a fund for my husband. He's got some big purchases that he wants to make. I don't know exactly what it is. He told me, but it's like he's speaking Greek to me. It's some kind of part or machine or something for his line of work. So I'm going to be putting money aside a little bit each week for him so that he can make that purchase for whatever it is. And I'm going to set aside $50 for that. So that is everything for my sinking funds this week. And let's just add this up. So we have 50 plus 50 plus 25 plus 25 plus 50. So we're adding $200 to our sinking funds this week. All right, now we have our extra debt payment. So you can see there's already something written in here. If you missed the video where I went through and did all of my challenges and played all of my games to figure out how much extra in debt we were going to pay this week, I will link that in a card above. You'll want to check it out. It's Debt Roulette and Savopoly and a 52-week savings challenge. I have converted all of those kind of savings challenges into debt payoff challenges. I take that money and rather than putting it in an envelope and saving it for a rainy day, I take it and pay extra towards our debt. It's just a fun way to pay a little bit extra in debt, keep the budget fun and interesting. And so that was a previous video, so I've already written that in there. In addition to that, we always make a debt snowball payment every single week of $233. That's how much we have built our debt snowball up since the start of our debt-free journey. This is the accumulation of all of the minimum payments that we were paying on cards that we have previously paid off. So we like to make progress on our debt every single week. So we take the monthly amount that we were paying in minimum payments, we divide it by 4, and we pay a little bit, a little chunk every single week. It's really motivating to see our debt go down on a weekly basis. We save a little bit of money in interest that way as well. And so that is how much we pay every single week without fail towards the credit card that we're currently working on, which is a Lowe's card. So that's it for the extra debt payments that I have planned. Hopefully we will be able to scrounge out scrounge up more money throughout the week and pay even more, but this is the minimum I'm going to pay this week. So $233 plus $80, that's $313 I have planned to pay towards extra debt. The last category I have here is extra savings. We're not putting any money into savings right now. We do have an emergency fund set aside should something arise that we need to, pull that money from, but we're not putting anything extra into savings. We're just focusing on paying down our debt. I will go ahead and write in rollover here. So with my husband's income not being consistent, some weeks he makes more, some weeks he makes less. The way that we really combat that is by rolling money over week to week. So I don't write in a rollover amount since I don't disclose my husband's income, and we do a zero-based budget. I don't write in the rollover amount because it'd be super easy then to add up all of these totals and the rollover amount and figure out exactly how much he made. You know what I mean? So, this income, if I were to write this in, it would include my husband's paycheck for the week. You guys can't see that. It would include my husband's paycheck for the week as well as anything that we rolled over from last week. We would use that combined money to take care of all of these categories, and then whatever's left we would roll over into the next week. So I don't fill that in just for the sake of privacy, but that is the way we do it. We give every single dollar that we have a job to do, whether it's to pay a bill or to go into a sinking fund or to roll over to next week. The goal is to not have any money unaccounted for. Everything gets a job. All right, friends, that is it. I know this was a little bit long-winded. I wanted to explain a few things for the new members of the Jwhackers family here. If you are not already and you would like to join my Facebook group, I highly recommend it. We have a lot of fun over there. It's the Jwhackers Fans and Friends Facebook group. I do have it linked below as well as all of my other social media. You can follow me. I'd love to have you. Don't forget to subscribe so that you never miss a video. I post new videos every single weekday, and I'd love to have you come back. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next one.